It's 6 a.m., and I wake up to the sound of my phone buzzing. It's a reminder from my bank app, alerting me that my paycheck has just been deposited. I roll over, reach for my phone, and the first thing I do is check my account. Every time I do this, it's a mix of hope and dread. The number staring back at me doesn't feel like a promise, it feels more like a deadline. After a quick glance, I put the phone down and sigh. There's less money than I thought there would be after bills, rent, groceries, and the interest on my student loans. I already know that the next few weeks are going to be a struggle. I've been stuck in this loop for months, maybe longer, but it's only now that I'm realizing how much it's taking out of me. I've heard people say things like money doesn't buy happiness or as long as you have your health, that's all that matters, but those words never seem to help me in my day-to-day life. It's hard to ignore the reality that money is at the center of everything, decisions, opportunities, even relationships. Every choice feels like it's driven by what I can afford, and every day is spent calculating whether or not I'll make it to the next payday without being crushed under the weight of my debts. The truth is, I feel trapped in a system that's working against me. I look around and see people who seem to have figured it out, those who own homes, who can go on vacations, who don't look at their bank accounts every day with a sense of panic. I see people my age starting families, buying cars, getting ahead, and I can't help but wonder what they're doing that I'm not. It feels like I'm doing everything right, I work hard, I budget, I try to save. But the goalposts keep moving. Every time I think I'm catching up, something new pops up to make me fall further behind. The rent has gone up again, and I'm already squeezing every cent out of my paycheck just to keep the lights on. Every month feels like I'm living in this endless cycle of surviving rather than living. I walk to work to save money on gas, wear the same clothes I've had for years, and turn down invitations from friends because I can't afford to go out. I tell myself that it's temporary. That one day, I'll be able to catch up, breathe a little easier. But deep down, I'm starting to wonder if that day will ever come. I can't even remember the last time I bought something for myself without thinking twice about it. I've cut back on almost everything, no new books, no dinners out, no spontaneous road trips like I used to take with friends. I've canceled Netflix, unsubscribed from music streaming services, and deleted every shopping app one once thought I couldn't live without. It's not that I mind being frugal, it's that being frugal has become my whole life. It's not a choice anymore, it's a necessity. It's hard to ignore the constant hum of anxiety that sits in the background of everything I do. Every little purchase feels like a potential disaster. Do I need toothpaste today? Will I have enough for gas after work? How long can I make this pack of frozen vegetables last? There are days when I feel like I'm drowning in a sea of financial decisions that no one should have to make. Every choice feels like a gamble. I'm tired of feeling like I'm always on the edge of something. Tired of constantly looking at my bank account and thinking, what if this is the last paycheck that can cover everything? I hate that it's even a question I have to ask myself. I hate how this financial pressure affects everything, my energy, my mood, my relationships. It's hard to be present for people when you're always thinking about your next move, always calculating what you can and can't afford. It's draining. It's even harder to explain to people who don't get it. When they ask how things are going, I smile and say, good. I don't have the energy to explain the constant weight I feel. I don't want to burden anyone with my struggles, so I just keep it to myself. But the loneliness that comes with this pressure is suffocating. It's isolating, feeling like you're the only one who's falling behind. And yet, I know I'm not alone. So many of us are stuck in the same place, doing everything we can to keep our heads above water, but not getting anywhere. Some nights, when I lie awake, I try to remind myself that I'm doing the best I can. But the truth is, it's hard to stay optimistic when everything around you feels like it's working against you. The world tells you to hustle, to work harder, to push yourself further, but when the costs of living keep going up, and your paychecks don't follow, it's easy to feel like you're running a race you can't win. I had dreams once, dreams of moving to a better apartment, of traveling, of having a job that felt like it meant something. I wanted to start saving for the future, to build something stable and secure. But the reality of my financial situation has forced me to put those dreams on hold, maybe forever. It's hard to think about the future when you're so consumed with surviving the present. There are days when I wonder if I'll ever catch up, if I'll ever be able to live the life I imagined. And then there are days when I feel like giving up, when I'm just too exhausted to keep going. But I do. I keep going, because what else is there to do? I've gotten good at pushing through. I've gotten good at ignoring the exhaustion, at telling myself that I'm making progress, even if it doesn't feel like it. Maybe one day, things will get better. Maybe one day, I'll be able to live without this constant worry. But for now, I just keep my head down, try to manage the best I can, and hold on to the small moments of relief when they come. It's hard to hold on to hope when everything feels like a struggle. But somehow, I keep going. And maybe that's all I can do for now. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It helps the content grow and motivates me to create even more great videos. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any new uploads. By the way, I'm curious, when do you usually watch my videos? While working, studying, or just relaxing at home? Let me know in the comments, I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for your support. I wake up to the soft hum of my phone vibrating against the nightstand. It's early, but my mind is already running through the checklist of things I need to handle today. I drag myself out of bed, the weight of exhaustion still clinging to me. My eyes are bloodshot, and the last few hours of sleep were fragmented at best. I reach for my phone and scroll through the messages, bills, reminders, more bills. Every notification feels like a small punch to the gut. I owe money for everything. Rent. Utilities. Credit cards. Student loans that feel like they're growing faster than my ability to pay them off. I think about the days when I was in school, when I'd imagined the freedom of post-graduation life, how I thought things would get easier once I was out on my own, earning a real salary. But the reality is that no matter how much I work, no matter how much I sacrifice, it feels like I'm sinking deeper into a hole. My stomach growls. Breakfast is a luxury, but I get something simple, coffee and toast. The kind of meal I can make in my sleep. I start thinking about how much I'm spending on groceries this week, how I've already cut out almost everything unnecessary. Eating out? Forget it. Ordering in? Only when I'm too tired to cook, and even then, it's cheap Chinese food or a pizza that somehow always costs more than I remember. Every penny feels like it needs to be accounted for. I leave my apartment, the small studio I've been renting for the last 2 years. I've been here long enough to see every crack in the walls, every chip in the paint. But it's mine. Or at least, it feels like mine. The rent's a stretch, but I make it work. Just barely. I take a breath before stepping outside, as if I need a moment to prepare myself for whatever stress the day will bring. The world outside doesn't feel much better than my cramped apartment. People rush past me, all with their own problems, their own pressures. But sometimes it feels like I'm the only one carrying this weight. The economy, the job market, inflation, it's all making things harder. Every time I go to the store, prices have jumped again. I've had to adjust my budget so many times that it no longer feels like I have a budget, just a vague set of rules I try to follow. At work, it's the same grind. I'm grateful for the job, don't get me wrong. It's stable, and it pays the bills, but I can feel the tension in the air. My coworkers are just as stressed. The constant news about inflation, wages not keeping up, layoffs happening in other industries. We all talk about how things are just getting worse, how we're all trapped in this system that seems to be built for us to fail. The idea of saving for the future? That's a joke. I can barely scrape together enough to cover this month's rent, let alone anything beyond that. I keep my head down, work as hard as I can, but inside, I'm exhausted. I keep thinking about how, just a few years ago, I had dreams. I had goals. I wanted to travel, experience new things, build a life that felt more than just surviving. But now, those dreams feel distant. I can't remember the last time I let myself think about the future without the crushing weight of debt, bills, and uncertainty pressing on my chest. I wonder if I'll ever be able to move past this. Some days, I tell myself that I'll get through it. It's just a phase, I say. The economy will stabilize. My career will take off. I'll get that promotion, or maybe I'll switch industries and make more money. But deep down, I know how uncertain everything is. I know how many people are in the same boat, working harder than ever and still barely making ends meet. I've seen enough friends lose their jobs, watched them struggle to find something that will pay the bills, and it's hard not to feel like I'm just one step away from the same fate. The emotional toll of it all is something I don't always talk about. It's hard to explain to anyone who hasn't felt it, this low hum of anxiety that's always there, in the background, waiting to bubble up when I check my bank account, when I look at my empty savings, when I wonder if I'll ever be able to pay off all these loans. It's this constant fear that I'm doing something wrong, that I'm falling behind, that no matter how hard I try, I won't be able to escape. On the rare occasion that I let myself feel something more than stress, it's guilt. I feel guilty for not having a better grip on my finances, for not being able to do more. I should be saving, I think. I should be investing. I should be planning for my future. But how can you plan when every dollar is already spoken for? It's like being on a treadmill, running as fast as you can but never moving forward. Sometimes, I let myself fantasize about what life would be like if I could just take a break from the grind. I picture myself traveling, seeing the world, doing something I love for once, something that doesn't feel like work. I imagine a future where I'm not constantly checking my bank account or calculating how long I can go without buying something I don't absolutely need. But then reality crashes in, and I remember the bills that are due, the rent I can't afford, the student loans that feel like an unending weight. I push the dreams aside, telling myself they're not realistic right now, that I can't afford to dream. In the quiet moments, I catch myself wondering if this is what life is supposed to be like. If this is just how it is for people my age now. Are we all supposed to live in constant stress, constantly worrying about money, barely scraping by? I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever get used to it. The weight of it all feels so heavy some days, like it might break me. But I cope. I tell myself that it's temporary. I find small ways to make myself feel better, taking a walk in the park, spending time with friends who get it, playing video games to distract myself for an hour. I find joy in the little things, because right now, that's all I can afford. I try not to look too far ahead because it's too much to bear. I take it one day at a time, knowing that's all I can do. I just hope that one day, things will change. I hope I'll find a way out of this cycle, that my hard work will pay off, that I'll be able to build a life that feels less like a constant struggle. But for now, I'm here, trying to survive, trying to keep my head above water, and hoping that one day, the weight will lift. I can't imagine what that would feel like, but I cling to the hope that someday, it will. I wake up in the morning to the same sense of dread I've come to expect. It's not the kind of dread you can point to with one specific cause. It's just, everything. The bills, the rent, the groceries, the student loan payments that seem to grow in size every year. I roll over, check my phone, and there it is. Another email from my bank telling me that I'm dangerously close to my overdraft limit. It's the same cycle every month, the creeping anxiety as payday approaches, the hope that maybe, just maybe, I can finally catch up this time, only to be crushed by the reality that I'm just a few $100s short of what I need to cover everything. And it doesn't matter how hard I work, how many hours I put in, how much I try to be smart with my money. It's never enough. I stand up, stretch, and shuffle to the bathroom. I've got a few minutes before I need to start getting ready for work. I glance at myself in the mirror, my tired face, the bags under my eyes. I'm only 26, but I feel like I'm 40. Maybe 50. It's hard to stay optimistic when everything feels like it's slipping further out of reach. I've been thinking about the future a lot lately, wondering if it's worth holding on to the dreams I've had. The things I used to imagine, starting my own business, traveling, buying a home. Those things feel impossible now. I used to tell myself that if I just worked hard enough, I'd get there. But it's like the universe has decided that no matter how hard I work, I'll always be just behind. The bar keeps getting raised higher. Rent goes up. Gas prices go up. The price of food, of everything, goes up. I was excited when I landed this job 2 years ago. I thought it was the break I'd been waiting for. But after taxes and bills, I've realized it doesn't stretch nearly as far as I need it to. There's nothing left for fun, nothing for the little luxuries that help make life feel worth living. No new clothes, no eating out with friends, no spontaneous weekend trips. Every extra penny goes into keeping my head above water, and even then, it feels like I'm barely staying afloat. Work itself is draining. I don't even want to talk about my coworkers. They're great, but the place is stressful, and the pressure is unrelenting. The expectations are always rising, but the rewards? Not so much. I know I'm not the only one feeling this way, though. We all talk about it, the unspoken truth that we're all in the same boat, paddling as fast as we can, but we're still stuck. The tension is always there, like we're all just waiting for the moment when we can finally break free. But then I realize, maybe none of us are ever going to break free. Maybe this is it. It's hard to not feel trapped when everything feels like it's beyond your control. There are moments when I get angry, when I think about the system that put me here. The fact that it feels like no matter how much effort I put into saving, there's always another obstacle, another expense that pops up unexpectedly. I just paid my car insurance, and now my phone bill is due. I want to scream, but I just sit there in silence, holding back tears. I'm so tired. Tired of pretending like everything is fine when it's not. Tired of telling people, I'm good, just busy, when inside I feel like I'm falling apart. Tired of hearing the same platitudes about how hard work will pay off eventually. It's like the whole world is pushing this idea that if you just keep grinding, it'll get better. But it doesn't feel like it's going to get better. Not when everything is so out of reach. I think about the things I used to want. I wanted to learn how to play guitar, but that would mean spending money on lessons or a new instrument, things I just can't justify. I wanted to travel, to see the world, but that dream feels so far away now, like a different life that doesn't belong to me anymore. I wanted to get my own place, but with rent skyrocketing, even the idea of living alone feels like a luxury I can't afford. Most days, I just go through the motions. I get up, go to work, pay the bills, try to save a little bit, but it's never enough. And when I do have some time to myself, it's not like I can truly relax. The weight of everything is always in the back of my mind, even when I'm trying to unwind. I think about how much longer I can keep up with this before I break. How much longer until I burn out? There's a part of me that still holds on to hope. Maybe something will change. Maybe I'll get a raise or find a better job. But deep down, I know that's not the reality for most people my age. We're all stuck in this cycle, trying to make ends meet and hoping for a break that may never come. I keep telling myself that it won't always be like this, but how long can I keep saying that? I try to keep my perspective, to remind myself that there are people in worse situations than me. But it's hard not to feel bitter. The world is changing, but not in ways that make life any easier for people like me. Every day, the gap between those who have money and those who don't grows wider, and I'm caught somewhere in the middle, trying to figure out how to survive. And yet, in the quiet moments, I still think about those dreams. The guitar. The trips. The freedom. Sometimes, I wonder if they're even worth holding on to anymore. Maybe it's better to let go of them, so I don't keep feeling disappointed when they stay just out of reach. But then, a small part of me refuses to give up. Because even if it seems impossible, I can't imagine living a life where I've given up on everything I once hoped for. I've had to adjust my expectations. I know that, right now, it's not about reaching those big dreams. It's about surviving. It's about making it through the next month, the next bill, the next challenge. Maybe the future will look brighter, maybe it won't. I don't know. But for now, I'll keep going. Because what else can I do? It's not just about money. It's about what money represents: security, freedom, a chance at something better. And when you don't have that, you feel like you're always running just to stay in place. But maybe that's the hardest part of all, the waiting. The constant hope that someday, somehow, something will change. That maybe, just maybe, I'll get out of this. I wake up to the sound of my phone alarm, its shrill tone cutting through the haze of sleep, pulling me out of a dream where money was never a problem. I rub my eyes, check the time, 6:45 a.m., and I feel the weight of it all settle on me again, like a blanket I can't shake off. Another day of trying to stay afloat in a world where I feel like I'm slowly sinking. I start my morning routine in automatic mode. A cup of coffee, barely enough to wake me up fully, but it's a small comfort in the chaos. The coffee costs $4.25, which I could probably cut out if I tried to save, but it's the one thing that helps me clear my mind for a few minutes. The thought of not having it feels like one more thing to give up, one more way I'll be depriving myself just to make the numbers add up. The job I have isn't exactly glamorous, but it's steady enough. I work at a marketing firm, doing social media management and content creation. It pays the bills, barely, and sometimes not even that. I used to dream about working in a creative field, writing stories, maybe even publishing a novel. But right now, I can't even afford to take a class that might help me improve my skills. Everything is a compromise. Every dream feels like it's slipping farther out of reach, like the world is running a race and I'm stuck on the sidelines. As I get dressed, I can't help but think about the endless bills piling up. Rent is due in 2 weeks, and with my paycheck coming in at the end of the month, I'm not sure how I'm going to make it work. The rent alone is over half of what I earn, and that's before groceries, the car payment, gas, and insurance. Every month, I juggle them like a circus performer trying not to drop anything. I don't even know what I'm paying for sometimes, just that I need to make it all balance out somehow. When I go to work, I can feel the strain in my shoulders. The bus ride is expensive now too, $3.50 each way. The thought of walking the hour to work to save a few bucks never really seems like a good solution. My knees are bad, and the weather here is unpredictable. And so, I pay the fare, watch the city slide by the window, and try not to think too much about how little I actually have left to spend. At the office, I'm surrounded by people who talk about vacations, new phones, fancy dinners out. I try not to let it bother me, but it does. I'm the one who skips lunch most days, bringing leftovers or sometimes just a granola bar, because I can't justify the $10 for a meal when I need every penny for something else. I don't know when I last ate something without looking at the price tag first, without calculating whether it's worth it. There's this constant tension in my chest, a low hum of anxiety that never really goes away. I hate how much I think about money. It's not that I want to, but it's hard to avoid. Every decision feels like it's about survival rather than living. I used to want to travel. See the world. Go to the beach, take a road trip across the country. But those dreams feel childish now, far away, like someone else's fantasy. Every time I see a travel ad on Instagram or hear someone talk about their latest adventure, I feel this pang in my chest, a mixture of longing and guilt. Even things like going to the movies, something I used to do for fun, feel out of reach. I don't even buy snacks at the theater anymore, too expensive. Instead, I bring my own, hoping I can slip them past the staff without them noticing. It's silly, I know, but it's a small act of rebellion against this endless tightening of the belt. My friends don't understand. They try to be supportive, but they don't get it. They don't know what it's like to feel like every paycheck is already spoken for before it even lands in the bank. How every dollar feels like it's slipping through your fingers, no matter how hard you hold on. I want to talk to them, but I can't bring myself to be that person, the one who always complains about money. So, I keep it to myself, retreating into silence when they talk about their new outfits, their weekend plans. I nod, smile, and pretend everything's fine. I don't know when it happened, when I stopped believing in the future. Somewhere along the way, I lost the idea that things would get better. I've been told my whole life that if I just work hard enough, if I just sacrifice enough, things will fall into place. But no one ever warned me that working hard wouldn't be enough. That no matter how many hours I put in, the cost of living would outpace my paycheck. That the dream of homeownership, of financial security, would be a distant mirage on the horizon. I tell myself that it's just a phase. That eventually, things will get better. But deep down, I wonder if I'm just fooling myself. I don't know how long I can keep pushing, how long I can stay in this cycle of just barely getting by. But I keep going. I tell myself that tomorrow will be different. That maybe I'll find a way to earn a little more, cut back a little more. Maybe I'll finally get the courage to ask for a raise. Maybe one of those freelance gigs will come through. But even those thoughts feel like whispers in the wind, promises I can't quite believe. I sometimes wonder if I'll ever be able to chase those dreams I once had. The ones where I'm writing for a living, where I'm financially independent, where I don't wake up every morning with a pit in my stomach wondering how I'm going to make it through the week. I don't want to give up, but it feels like every step forward is met with 2 steps back. I dream of a life where I'm not constantly counting every penny, where I can take a day off without worrying about whether I'll be able to pay rent next month. But for now, I just keep moving forward, one day at a time, holding on to that fragile hope that one day, things might change. I'm not sure how, or when, but I hold on to it, because without it, what else is there? I wake up to the sound of my phone buzzing on the nightstand. It's not the alarm. It's an email. Another reminder of a bill coming due. I roll over and glance at the time, 6:30 a.m. The early morning light creeps through the window, but I don't feel rested. I haven't felt rested in months. I swipe the email away. My heart sinks as I glance at the screen, a reminder for my student loan payment, the one I can barely make each month. I set the phone down, pressing it into the mattress to stop my mind from racing. That's a lie. The mind never stops. Every single day feels like a balancing act. A tightrope walk where if I slip, it all crumbles. I shuffle out of bed and glance at the calendar on my wall. Another month, another set of bills to juggle. Rent's due in a few days. Electricity's next. Credit card bills. Food. Gas. They're all pushing forward, advancing like a wave, and no matter how many hours I put in at my job, no matter how many shifts I pick up, I can't seem to stay above water. I'm lucky in some ways. I'm not drowning in debt yet, not completely. I know others are in worse situations. Still, sometimes it feels like I'm already underwater, gasping for air. I get dressed in the same clothes I've been wearing for the last few days. I've stopped caring about the little things like fashion or style. Who has time to worry about that when I'm constantly calculating the cost of every decision? I look in the mirror, adjusting my shirt, trying to convince myself that I don't look tired. But I do. I can see it in my eyes, the exhaustion. The uncertainty. As I drive to work, I try to push the thoughts of money out of my mind. But it's hard. Everything in this city costs more than it should. Rent here is absurd for what I get, a tiny one-bedroom with peeling walls and a leaky faucet that's been broken for months. The car is barely holding on, its engine sputtering on the highway as I pass the new luxury apartments and gleaming stores. I can't even look at them anymore, not without the sharp sting of envy and resentment. They're living in a world I can't touch. I get to work and clock in, trying to shove the financial pressure as far back into my mind as possible. It's not easy. Every conversation with a colleague is a reminder of how different everyone's life seems to be. Some talk about their vacations, their new gadgets, their plans for the future. I want to be happy for them, but I can't stop thinking about how my own future feels like a distant, unattainable dream. There's a break room at work, where everyone gathers for lunch. I don't eat there often, it's full of people who have the luxury of bringing homemade lunches and chatting about their lives. Me? I grab the cheapest thing I can find from the vending machine or a fast food place on my way to work. Even that feels like a luxury some days. If I'm being honest, I'm scared to check my bank account. I'm scared of how little is left after paying for all the basic necessities. And I'm scared of what'll happen when my next paycheck doesn't stretch far enough. I know what it's like to make impossible choices. Do I pay the gas bill or buy food for the week? Do I sacrifice one of my medications to get a couple of extra dollars? Sometimes, it feels like every decision is a trade-off. I try not to think too much about the future. It's easier that way, to focus on the present and the small victories. Like getting through the day without breaking down, or managing to save enough for a few grocery items. But at night, when I'm lying in bed, the thoughts come rushing back. What will I do when I can't keep this up? What happens when my car breaks down for good, or when I lose my job? I had dreams once. I thought I'd be further along by now. I thought I'd have a career I loved, a savings account with more than a couple $100s in it, maybe even a small place I could call my own. Instead, I'm stuck. Stuck in this cycle of barely getting by, never feeling secure. The dreams are still there, somewhere, buried under layers of bills and worries and realities. I try to hold on to them, but they slip through my fingers like sand. Every time I hear someone talk about their aspirations, a pang of guilt hits. I should be doing more, I think. I should be pushing harder. But I don't know how. I don't know how to fight this invisible enemy, this growing gap between the cost of living and the income one brings in. It's not just the financial strain, though. It's the emotional toll. The constant pressure to be doing better, to be achieving more. There's an expectation to figure it out, to have everything under control, to be progressing towards some future goal. But it feels like no matter how hard I try, it's never enough. It's never fast enough. I think about what I've had to put on hold. I've been talking about going back to school for years, but there's no way I can afford it. I've wanted to travel, to see the world beyond the cramped streets of this city, but I can't even remember the last time I took a vacation. Even small things, like eating out with friends, or getting a cup of coffee at a cafe, feel like indulgences I can't afford. Some nights, I feel like I'm in a prison, and the bars are made of debt and bills. I wonder if I'll ever be free of this, or if it's just how life is for people like me. I try to remind myself that it's temporary, that things will get better eventually. But the truth is, I don't know that. I can't know that. There are moments when I feel completely defeated. When I wonder if it's worth it to keep pushing through. But I push through anyway, because what else can I do? I've never been one to give up. I just wish there were a way out of this cycle, a way to breathe without the weight of the world on my chest. Sometimes, when I'm alone, I think about the future in a way that feels almost impossible. Maybe, just maybe, there's a chance that I'll be able to build something. A future that doesn't feel so fragile. A life where I'm not drowning, where I don't feel like every day is a fight to survive. But for now, I hold on to those dreams, even if they seem too far out of reach. I don't know what tomorrow will bring, or how long I'll be able to keep this up. But I know I can't stop trying. Even when it feels like the world is moving faster than I can catch up. Even when it feels like I'm running on empty, one paycheck at a time. I just have to keep going. That's all I can do. I wake up to the sound of my phone buzzing, an alarm I set for 7 a.m. so I can get up early enough to avoid the rush hour traffic. But the truth is, I've never really gotten good at waking up early. I've never been a morning person, but these days, every minute counts. I need to be out of the house by 8 o'clock, not because I enjoy getting to work on time but because it feels like the world punishes me for the smallest delays. If I'm even a minute late, I feel like I'm slipping further behind, like the economic clock is ticking, and I'm just barely keeping up. I shuffle into the bathroom and look at myself in the mirror. The bags under my eyes have gotten darker over the months. I don't sleep well anymore, not because I don't want to, but because my mind races constantly, especially when the bills start piling up. I can't help but wonder, how did I get here? I'm 24, fresh out of college, and I'm already feeling the weight of the world on my shoulders. The job I got after graduation is a blessing, but it doesn't pay nearly enough to cover everything. Rent. Utilities. Insurance. Gas. Food. I don't know how anyone survives in this economy without either living with their parents or having some side hustle that's going to drain your soul over time. But I don't have a side hustle. I barely have time for the life I'm already living. I've been told that you have to hustle to make it, that you just have to work harder. The thing is, I work hard. I don't slack off at my job. I go above and beyond. I know my manager appreciates me, but appreciation doesn't pay rent. It doesn't cover the credit card debt I racked up during my first few months in the workforce, trying to convince myself that I could live on a shoestring budget while still going out and pretending I had a life. It's funny how naive I was back then. I thought I had time to build up a cushion, time to figure it out, time to breathe. I eat a quick breakfast, usually a piece of toast and some coffee, and then I grab my things. I head out the door, glancing at my bank account on my phone as I wait for the elevator. There's always a moment of dread when I open the app, waiting to see if I'm at least above the bare minimum. I've stopped checking my balance on a regular basis because the shock of seeing how little I have left is just too much to handle some days. It feels like a countdown to zero. On the way to work, I drive through neighborhoods where I can't afford to live. I see all the nice houses with their manicured lawns and well-kept cars in the driveway, and I wonder what it would feel like to live like that, just for a little while, to have the freedom to breathe without worrying about what I'm spending every single day. I wonder if those people know what it's like to stare at the gas pump, calculating whether they can fill the tank or if they'll have to wait until payday. I wonder if they know what it feels like to go through their closet in the morning, trying to piece together an outfit that looks decent but doesn't make them feel like they're living in a budget fashion nightmare. At work, I try to focus. It's not easy. Every email is a reminder of how small I am in this giant system. I watch colleagues around me buy coffee every morning, go out to lunch, and talk about their weekend plans. Meanwhile, I'm pinching pennies. I try not to let them see that I'm struggling. I try not to show how much it stings when I think about how much they take for granted. They don't know that I'm counting every penny, that I've stopped going out with them because I can't afford to spend even the smallest amount on a meal or a drink. They don't know that the social invites have become more of a reminder of what I don't have than an opportunity to relax. At the end of the day, I feel like I've accomplished nothing. I sit in traffic, exhausted from pretending everything is fine. When I get home, I face a stack of unopened bills. The electricity bill, the internet bill, the car payment, and then there's the ever-present credit card debt that just seems to balloon every month. The interest alone is enough to make me feel like I'm sinking, like I'm stuck in this hole I can't dig myself out of. I tell myself that I can't afford to stress about it, that stressing won't solve anything. But it's hard not to. I tell myself that one day, things will be better, that I'll get a raise, that I'll eventually pay off my debt, that I'll be able to save enough to finally get ahead. But then I think about the cost of living, the rising inflation, the rent hikes that are pushing me further and further away from my dreams. I think about how, at this rate, I'll never be able to buy a home or travel the world or go back to school. Everything I ever dreamed of feels like it's slipping further and further away, like I'm running after something that keeps moving just out of reach. Some nights, I just want to curl up in bed and cry, but I know I can't afford to. I can't afford to let myself break down. I need to keep going. I need to keep fighting. But some days, I wonder if it's worth it. Some days, I wonder if I'm just chasing something that's been designed to stay out of my grasp, a dream that was never meant for people like me. And yet, I keep moving forward. I can't help but hope that someday, somehow, things will get better. That maybe the system will change, that there will be a breakthrough, that I'll find a way out of this never-ending cycle. I try to remind myself that this is just temporary, that this struggle is part of the journey. But sometimes, it feels like the journey is too long, and I'm too tired to keep walking. I tell myself that one day, I'll look back on this and laugh. That all of this will be just a memory, a part of my past. But right now, it's hard to see that far ahead. All I see is the next bill, the next paycheck, the next obstacle standing between me and the life I dream of. And for now, I just have to keep going. I wake up every day with this heavy weight in my chest, like there's a constant pressure pushing down, slowly getting worse. The first thing I do is check my phone, not for messages or emails, but for my bank balance. I do it without thinking now, it's almost automatic. The numbers rarely bring good news. The balance is always lower than it should be, always a reminder of how far behind I feel. It's like I'm running, but the ground is slipping beneath me. And yet, I keep moving. Somehow, I have to. I'm in my mid-20s, but it feels like I'm living like someone in their 40s, always checking prices, cutting corners, trying to stretch a paycheck that barely covers the basics. Some days, I forget what it feels like to not worry about money. I can't remember the last time I went out with friends without calculating how much I could afford to spend, and it's always less than I want. The feeling of watching my friends go to concerts, to bars, to weekend trips, things that used to seem so normal, now feels like a different reality. I'm not sure if it's jealousy or just the ache of wishing I could have the same freedom. But I don't. I can't. It's not that I don't work hard. I do. I'm juggling 2 part-time jobs, and I'm constantly hustling. One job is in retail, and the other is freelance writing. Neither of them offer any security. Neither of them offer benefits. And most days, it's like I'm running just to stay still. Rent takes up more than half my paycheck, and the utilities, internet, groceries, they nibble at what's left. And there's always something new, another fee, another bill, another emergency expense that I wasn't expecting. Just when I think I'm making progress, the goalposts move again. Sometimes, I wonder what happened to that version of myself that dreamed of going places, of having a career that felt fulfilling, of owning a home, of maybe even being able to help my parents out. I had these big ideas about what life would be like. But now, every day is a battle between choosing what I have to do, and what I wish I could do. I try to be optimistic, to remind myself that I'm doing the best I can. But when you're surrounded by people who seem to have it all together, it's hard not to feel like a failure. Every time I scroll through social media, I see people my age getting engaged, buying houses, going on vacations. They have jobs that seem stable. They don't seem to spend every minute worrying if they can afford their next meal or if they'll get stuck with another overdraft fee. I used to be excited about the future. I had dreams. But now, my dreams feel like a luxury, something that belongs to other people, people who aren't trapped in this cycle of scraping by. It's hard not to feel disillusioned. How do you stay motivated when it feels like the system is rigged against you? When all your hard work doesn't seem to lead anywhere but a dead end? I've had to put so much on hold. It's not just the fun things, the travel or the nice dinners out, it's the big things. The things that I thought would be within reach by now. I wanted to go back to school, to earn a degree that could help me break into a career that mattered. But school is expensive, and the loans I'd need would pile on top of everything else. I can't afford that kind of debt. I wanted to start saving for a house, maybe even buy a small one, something modest where I could build a future. But how can you save when every paycheck gets eaten up by bills? When I get any extra, it gets swallowed by a surprise fee or a last-minute expense. I used to think that if I just worked harder, things would get better. But lately, I've started to question that. How much harder can I work? How much longer can I push myself before I burn out? I don't know. There are days when I wake up and wonder if I'll even make it through. But I do. I keep pushing, even when I feel like I'm drowning in the pressure. But even when it's hard, there's still a small part of me that holds on to hope. I try to remind myself that I'm not alone in this struggle. Everyone around me, from my coworkers to my friends, is going through the same thing. We talk about it sometimes, how we're all just surviving. Sometimes, we share tips on how to cut costs, like where to find the cheapest gas or how to make a meal out of whatever's left in the fridge. But at the end of the day, we're all just making do, trying to stay afloat in a world that feels like it's rigged to keep us down. I won't lie, it's exhausting. Some days, I can't shake the feeling that I'm stuck in a trap, and I don't know how to get out. But I keep fighting because I have to. It's not just for me anymore, it's for the people who depend on me, even if they don't always realize it. And for the future, for that version of myself who used to dream big. I keep telling myself that someday, I'll get out of this. That somehow, it'll get better. But it's hard to believe when the weight of it all is so constant. The bills don't stop coming. The rent keeps rising. The gas prices climb, the food prices go up, and all I can do is hold on, just a little longer. I've had to let go of a lot of things, dreams, goals, even the idea of enjoying my life the way I once thought I would. But there's still this small spark inside me. Maybe it's foolish, maybe it's naive, but I hold on to the hope that one day, things will change. That I'll be able to breathe without feeling the weight of all this financial pressure pressing down on me. For now, though, I just keep going. I keep working, I keep hustling, and I try to hold on to the belief that I'm doing the best I can. It's not easy, but it's all I've got. And maybe, one day, I'll look back at this time and realize that even in the struggle, I was building something better, something more than this. But until then, I just have to keep moving forward. I wake up every morning with the same heavy feeling in my chest. The alarm buzzes at 6:30 a.m., and for a few seconds, I lie still, staring at the ceiling, feeling the weight of the world pressing down on me. The room is cold, and all I want to do is pull the covers back over my head and escape, but that's not an option. Not today. Not any day. The first thing I do when I roll out of bed is check my bank account. I don't know why I bother, it's always the same, barely enough to cover the essentials, let alone anything extra. Rent is due in a week, and I'm already figuring out which bills can wait. The water bill? I'll hold off on that one. Groceries? That'll be a stretch this time around. It's like this every month. Every single month. I'm trapped in a cycle where the money never quite reaches the end of the month, and I'm constantly trying to figure out how to make it work. It feels like there's no way out. I used to dream. I used to picture myself in a better place, where I could afford more than just the basics. Where I could go out with friends without checking the price tag on every meal, or take a weekend trip just to escape the monotony of it all. But those dreams are slipping away. They're buried beneath the weight of rent increases, rising gas prices, student loan bills, and the constant pressure of living in a city where everything costs more than what I make. Some days, I tell myself it's just a temporary thing. I'll get ahead eventually. I'll find a better job, maybe even get a raise, and things will ease up. But every day that passes, that hope feels more like a fantasy. The economic environment has changed, and not for the better. Wages are stagnant, and every time I hear about another company posting record profits, I feel like I'm suffocating a little bit more. How can they be doing so well when so many of us are struggling just to stay afloat? It's like the whole system is rigged against us. And the worst part? No one talks about it. People are too busy pretending everything is fine. By the time I make it to work, the anxiety is already creeping in. It's a part of my daily routine now, this low-grade panic that gnaws at the edges of everything. I don't let it show, though. I've learned to put on a mask. I smile at my coworkers, chat about nothing in particular, and try to keep my mind off the sinking feeling in my stomach. But it's always there. The pressure. The looming fear that one day, something is going to happen, an unexpected expense, a bad month, and I won't be able to keep up anymore. There's this constant fight for survival. Every time I make a small decision, like whether to take public transportation or walk to work, I'm doing a mental calculation of what will save me a few extra dollars. Sometimes I'll skip lunch and just make do with whatever's in my desk drawer, maybe a half-eaten granola bar from the morning. It's easier than spending money on something more substantial, even if it means I'm hungry and irritable by 2 p.m. I used to enjoy going out. I remember the days when I'd get a little extra cash and treat myself to something fun, dinner with friends, a movie, a trip to the thrift store to find a cute outfit. Now, though, even those small pleasures are out of reach. I can't remember the last time I bought something just because I wanted it, not because I needed it. It's a sad thing to realize, but I'm getting used to it. There's this feeling of being invisible in all of it. The world moves so fast, and I'm always struggling to keep up. It's like everyone else is speeding ahead, and I'm stuck in place, fighting just to maintain. I read stories about people starting businesses, buying homes, traveling the world, and all I can think is, how do they do it? What do they have that I don't? It's not like I'm lazy. I work hard. I've been working hard since I was a teenager, taking whatever jobs I could find, first at the coffee shop, then at the bookstore, now as an office assistant. I don't mind the work. In fact, I kind of like it. But no matter how hard I work, it never feels like enough. The cost of living is growing faster than my paycheck, and no matter how many hours I put in, it feels like I'm just treading water. On the weekends, I try to forget about everything. I spend time with my family, or maybe just stay in and read a book. But even then, I can't fully relax. The anxiety is always there, like a shadow that won't leave. I try to remind myself that I'm not alone in this, that so many others are going through the same thing. But somehow, that doesn't make it easier. It just feels like one big, overwhelming mess that no one knows how to fix. Lately, I've been thinking a lot about my future. What is this all leading to? I can barely afford to take care of myself in the present, so how am I supposed to plan for tomorrow? How do you save for retirement when you can't even save for next month? My dreams, my big dreams, are starting to feel like they were never meant for me. Maybe it's naive to think I could ever afford the life I imagined. The truth is, I don't know if I'll ever get ahead. Maybe I'll always be struggling. Maybe that's just the reality of the world we live in now. But even in the midst of all this uncertainty, I can't completely give up hope. I think about the future, and I still see a sliver of possibility, just a sliver, but it's there. Maybe one day, things will change. Maybe I'll find a way out of this trap, even if it's small. Maybe, just maybe, there will be a day when I can breathe easy. I don't know when that day will come, but I'm holding on to the idea that it's possible. Because without that hope, I don't know how I'd keep going. So, I wake up every morning, feeling the weight of everything, and I keep moving forward. I don't have a clear plan for how things will improve, but I know I have to keep trying. I can't stop now. The road is hard, and it's uncertain, but it's the only one I have. I tell myself that one day, when I look back, I'll see this struggle as just a small chapter in a much bigger story. But for now, I'll just keep putting one foot in front of the other, hoping that somehow, someday, things will get better. Hey, friends! If you enjoy this content, don't forget to like the video and share your thoughts in the comments. We really want to know what you like and what can be improved. What do you think of the video? Are there any topics you'd like to see in future videos? Your feedback really helps us get better. Thanks for being with us. I wake up with the same feeling every morning, like a heavy weight pressing down on my chest, a quiet anxiety that lurks just beneath the surface, waiting for the day to start. I don't need an alarm anymore. I've become so accustomed to waking up early that my body does it on its own. There's always a few seconds where I let myself pretend, just for a moment, that everything is fine, that I'm not constantly caught between surviving and sinking. But then I hear the faint hum of my phone, the glow of notifications, and reality rushes in like a tide. I check my bank account first. It's a ritual at this point, painful, but necessary. The numbers never seem to match the amount of work I'm doing, the effort I'm putting in. The hours I put into my job aren't translating into anything close to financial comfort. It feels like I'm trying to fill a bucket that has a hole in the bottom. And I'm getting so tired of bailing water out, only to watch it slip away. There's a silence after I check my balance, a hollow, sinking feeling in my stomach. I should be used to it by now, but it still stings. The bills are coming in faster than I can deal with them. Rent's gone up again. The electric bill is higher than I expected. And then there's the cost of groceries, don't even get me started. I'm starting to wonder if I'm even going to be able to make it through the month without taking on more debt. Every time I make a payment on my student loans, it feels like I'm only scratching the surface. They just keep growing, faster than I can handle. I've had to give up so many things I used to enjoy. Little luxuries that once felt like normal parts of life, going out for coffee, grabbing lunch with friends, even the occasional weekend trip. I've cut those out entirely. There's no room for them anymore. The small joys I used to take for granted are now distant memories, buried beneath the weight of constant financial stress. Some days, I feel like I'm just going through the motions, getting up, going to work, coming home, eating a quick dinner, and collapsing into bed, only to wake up and do it all again. There's no time for anything else. No time for hobbies, no time for relationships, no time for myself. My friends and family tell me I should take it easy, that I should find a way to relax, but how can I? How can I relax when the world feels like it's constantly pulling me down, when every choice I make feels like a gamble, when every expense is another mountain to climb? Sometimes I daydream about what it would be like to not worry about money all the time. I imagine living in a place where I don't have to decide whether I should pay my rent or buy groceries. A place where I can travel, or even just go out to eat without checking the menu prices first, calculating what I can afford. I dream about a future where I don't feel like I'm constantly playing catch-up, where I have some room to breathe, to live without the constant pressure. But those dreams feel like they belong to someone else. Someone who's got it figured out. Not me. Not someone who's working 2 jobs just to cover the basics. Not someone who's trying to stretch every paycheck, not someone who's working overtime just to keep their head above water. The thing is, I know I'm not alone in this. I know there are so many others out there, just like me, caught in the same cycle. But that doesn't make it any easier. The weight of it is all-consuming. Sometimes I wonder if I'll ever be able to break free. Or if this is just what life is now, an endless series of choices between the things I need and the things I want, with no real room for anything beyond survival. I keep telling myself that things will get better eventually, that I'll be able to catch up, that my situation will improve. But I don't know anymore. The world keeps changing around me, and it feels like the gap between what I can afford and what I need to live keeps widening. I see people on social media, people my age, posting about their vacations, their new apartments, their new cars. It's like they're living a life I can't even imagine. And I wonder, how do they do it? How do they get by without feeling like they're drowning in debt? I tell myself it's just the economy, that it's the system, not me. But that doesn't make it feel any better. I've tried cutting back, tried to save wherever I can, but it's never enough. The unexpected costs always show up. The car breaks down, the washing machine breaks, and there goes any savings I managed to scrape together. I can't win. The hardest part is how it affects everything else. The constant stress is wearing me down in ways I never expected. I'm tired all the time, physically, emotionally, mentally. I snap at people more than I'd like to, especially the ones I love the most. They don't deserve that, but I don't know how to stop it. I'm just so tired. The weight of it all makes it hard to focus, hard to feel like I can ever be present in the moment. My mind is always running through the list of things I have to do, the things I have to pay, the things I can't afford to do. I don't feel like I have a future anymore, at least, not one that looks like the future I imagined when I was younger. I used to dream about being successful, about having a career I loved, a life that felt like it had purpose. I used to think I could make a difference, that I could change the world, that I could have a family one day, buy a house, take vacations. But now those dreams seem so far away, like they belong to another version of myself, someone who didn't have to struggle with mounting bills, someone who didn't feel like every step forward was followed by 2 steps back. I don't know how long I can keep doing this. Some days, it feels like I'm running on empty, just going through the motions, trying to keep my head above water. I wish I could just catch a break, just one moment where I can breathe, where I can relax, where I don't have to worry about money for 5 minutes. But I know that's not coming anytime soon. So, I keep moving. I keep working. I keep hoping that somehow, things will change. That I'll find a way out of this endless cycle. But every day feels like the same struggle. Every day feels like a race against time, against bills, against my own exhaustion. I just want a chance to live again. To not feel like I'm always on the edge of something I can't control. To feel like I'm more than just the sum of my debts and obligations. But for now, I hold on. Because that's all I can do. It's a strange thing, living in a world where everything feels just slightly out of reach. Where every decision you make has this quiet, insistent weight behind it, a weight that gets heavier the more you try to ignore it. I never thought I'd end up here. But here I am, trapped in a system where the bills are always higher than my paycheck, where my dreams are slowly being smothered by numbers that don't make sense. I'm 25, and on the surface, it looks like I'm doing okay. I have a job, I have a roof over my head, I've managed to keep my car running. I've managed. But that's just it. I'm not thriving. I'm surviving. And barely at that. It's not just the student loans, though those are certainly a big part of it. It's everything else. Rent keeps going up. I've moved twice in the last 2 years because every time my lease ends, the rent increases by $200 or more. I can't even keep track of the gas prices anymore, they fluctuate so much. I just know that I've had to choose between filling my tank and buying groceries. And let me tell you, there are days when that's not an easy choice. You'd think after a while, I'd get used to the stress. But it never stops. It's constant. Every time I open my bank app, I feel this tightening in my chest, like I'm standing on the edge of a cliff and one wrong step could send me tumbling down. I'll be honest, sometimes it feels like I'm drowning. There's this underlying anxiety that follows me everywhere, like a shadow I can't shake off. When I'm sitting at my desk at work, I can't concentrate. I'll check my bank account, check my credit card balance, check my savings, all those numbers, staring back at me, reminding me that I don't have enough. Not enough to breathe easy. Not enough to relax. Not enough to plan for the future. I keep hearing people talk about the future, about the dreams they have for their careers, their homes, their families. I'd like to be one of them. I'd like to have something to look forward to, but I can't think past next month, let alone 5 or 10 years down the road. Every time I imagine buying a house or going on a vacation or even just treating myself to something nice, the idea slips away, replaced by a quick calculation of what it would cost, what I could do instead with that money. And the more I think about it, the more the dream of the future shrinks until it feels like it's no longer a dream at all. It's just this mirage, something that was never really there. I try to tell myself it's temporary, that I'm just in a phase. But the truth is, I don't know when it's going to end. I don't know if it will. Every time I think things are settling down, something new happens, a medical bill I forgot about, a car repair I wasn't prepared for, a spike in food prices. And it all adds up. And I'm left trying to figure out how to juggle the pieces. And then there's the emotional toll. The isolation. The guilt. I don't like talking about money with my friends. It feels like admitting failure. I can hear the way they talk about their next vacation, about saving for a house, about paying off their debts. They don't mean to, but it's hard to listen when you feel like you're stuck in a hole they've never had to climb out of. I don't want to sound bitter or resentful, I'm not. I'm happy for them, truly. I just wish I could be there too. But when they ask me about my plans, about what's next for me, all I can say is, I'm figuring it out. And it's the truth. I'm just trying to get through each day. I cope with this pressure in small ways. I take long walks when I can. It's like a reset button for my mind, a brief moment where I can stop thinking about numbers and just be outside, breathing in the air, feeling the sunlight on my skin. It's fleeting, but it's something. I've also started writing more, not like I used to, but in fragments. Little journals and lists and notes to myself. There's something about putting it all down on paper that helps me make sense of it, even when there's no real solution. Sometimes I try to picture a life where money isn't the thing that controls everything. Where I'm not constantly worrying if I'm going to make it through the month. I try to imagine a future where I don't have to make the decision between buying dinner and paying the electric bill. But then I snap back to reality, and that dream feels like a distant memory. I try to hold on to hope, though. I remind myself that people have been in worse situations and made it out. I tell myself that I'm doing the best I can. But it's hard when it feels like no matter how hard you work, the goalposts just keep moving. And then there's the constant tension, that battle between what you want and what you need. I used to dream about traveling, about seeing the world. I had these grand ideas of going to Europe, maybe moving to a city like New York or Paris. I wanted to immerse myself in a different culture, to learn new things and make memories I'd carry with me forever. Now, those dreams are locked away in a box. Not gone, but postponed indefinitely. I tell myself, when things settle down, when I'm not drowning in bills, I'll go. But I don't know when things settling down is going to happen. It feels like a fairy tale. The hardest part? Not knowing how to fix it. I don't know if I'll ever earn enough to break free from this cycle. I don't know if I'll ever be able to afford the kind of life I've always imagined. I don't know if I'll ever be able to feel like I'm not just a paycheck away from falling apart. But I keep going. Because what else is there to do? I keep pushing forward, one step at a time, even though it feels like I'm treading water. Maybe one day, I'll get to the other side. Maybe one day, I'll look back at this period of my life and realize that the struggle was worth it. But for now, I hold on to hope in the small moments. I try not to let the weight of it all crush me, though some days, it gets close. Some days, I feel like I'm being crushed by the sheer weight of my responsibilities, my debts, the constant reminder that I'm not where I want to be. But I remind myself, this is temporary. Or at least, I hope it is. Maybe one day, I'll get to feel free again. Maybe one day, I'll open my bank app and not feel that tightening in my chest. Maybe, just maybe, I'll be able to dream again, for real this time. Until then, I just keep moving forward. Even if it's only 1 inch at a time. It's always the same. Every month, when the bills come, I feel a wave of panic in my chest. I sit at my small kitchen table with a cup of coffee, my fifth of the day, squinting at the numbers on my phone screen, praying that somehow, this time, the math will work out. But it never does. I can feel the weight of it in my shoulders, creeping down my spine. It's a low, steady pressure that never lets up. I'm 27, and I'm stuck in this endless cycle. I've been trying to make ends meet for so long now, but it always feels like the hole I'm digging myself out of is just getting deeper. Rent goes up every year. Gas prices climb higher. Food is more expensive, and even the things that used to feel like luxuries, like taking a walk around the city and grabbing a coffee at a cafe, are starting to feel like indulgences I can't afford. Every decision is weighed against my bank balance, every choice tied to the unyielding reality of money, or the lack of it. My job doesn't help. I work as a customer service rep for a company that's constantly restructuring, laying off people who have been there longer than me, and hiring new employees with promises of career growth that never seem to materialize. I make a decent wage for my age, but it's barely enough to cover the basics. Sometimes, I wonder if my paycheck is even worth the mental and emotional toll it takes to deal with angry customers day in and day out. But I can't afford to leave. I can't afford to take a risk on something else that might pay less or have fewer benefits. I remember when I was younger, I used to dream about being an artist. I wanted to travel, see the world, make something meaningful out of my creativity. I'd spend hours sketching and writing stories, imagining a future where I didn't have to worry about money, where my art could sustain me, where I'd be free to do what I loved. But those dreams, those hopes, feel like distant echoes now, fading with every bill that arrives. It's not that I've given up entirely on those dreams. Not yet. But I've had to adjust. I've had to put them on hold. I can't afford to take art classes or put money into supplies. Hell, I can barely even afford the therapy I promised myself I'd keep going to. I've realized that dreams cost more than just time and energy, they cost money, and right now, I don't have enough of that to spare. I try to find small moments of escape, little ways to feel like I'm living, not just surviving. I'll go to a park with my sketchbook, and even though I'm not creating anything groundbreaking, it gives me a moment of peace. But it's hard to shake the feeling that I'm always running out of time. I wonder if I'll look back at my life one day and realize I spent too much energy just trying to get by. That scares me more than anything. The thought that I might wake up at 50 and realize that I never really lived, that I was just a cog in a machine, always chasing something that was just out of reach. It's a strange kind of exhaustion. The way your mind is constantly racing to calculate if you have enough for groceries, if you can afford to get your car fixed, or if you should skip your gym membership for a couple of months to make sure your rent is paid. It's like living with a constant hum of stress in the background that never quite shuts off. And then there's the guilt that I'm not doing more. That I'm not saving, not investing, not preparing for the future like I'm supposed to. I see people my age buying houses or starting families, and I wonder how they do it. How do they get to a place where the financial pressure isn't always hovering, threatening to crush everything? Sometimes, I feel so alone in this. Everyone else seems to have it figured out. They have their lives together. But I feel like I'm always just a step behind, scrambling to keep up. The worst part is when people don't understand. They think I'm lazy or that I'm not trying hard enough, but they don't see the late nights, the anxiety, the constant worry about what's going to happen next. They don't see the struggle of knowing that every dollar counts and feeling like you're just one mistake away from losing everything. I've stopped talking about it. I've stopped sharing how much I'm struggling, how much I feel like I'm barely keeping my head above water. I'm scared of being judged, of people telling me I need to get over it or find a way. If it were that simple, I'd have done it already. But it's not. The economic environment right now is unforgiving. Jobs are scarce, wages are stagnant, and the cost of living keeps rising. And no matter how hard I try to explain it, I can't seem to make people understand that the system is stacked against me, that the odds are not in my favor. It's hard to have hope some days. When everything feels so fragile, when I'm constantly one paycheck away from disaster, it's hard to keep believing that things will get better. I've tried to remind myself that I'm still young, that I have time to make changes. But when you're living paycheck to paycheck, when you're always behind, it feels like the dream of a better life is slipping further and further out of reach. But I keep going. I keep trying. Because what else can I do? I don't want to give up entirely on my dreams, but I've learned that survival comes first. There are days when I feel like I can't keep going, like I'm trapped in a system that doesn't care about me, but I force myself to keep pushing forward. I get out of bed, go to work, pay the bills. Maybe I'm not saving for the future I once dreamed of, but at least I'm not giving up. At least I'm still here. And somewhere, deep down, I still believe that one day things will get better. Maybe I'll find a way to escape this cycle. Maybe I'll figure out how to make my dreams a reality. But for now, all I can do is keep fighting, keep holding on, and hope that someday, somehow, I'll get the chance to live the life I've always imagined. Until then, I just keep breathing, one day at a time. I wake up every morning to the sound of my alarm ringing, but instead of feeling refreshed, I just feel tired. I've been tired for a long time. It's not the kind of tired that can be solved with a good night's sleep, it's the kind of tired that seeps into your bones, the kind you can't shake off no matter how many hours you lie in bed trying to sleep away the anxiety. The kind that sticks to your skin because you know when you open your eyes, the world will demand something from you that you don't have to give. I pull myself out of bed, rub my eyes, and reach for my phone. The first thing I do is check my bank account. The screen shows a number that barely moves, like it's frozen in time. I see it every day. It's a little reminder of how far away I am from where I want to be. It's a reflection of a life I didn't choose but somehow ended up in, despite all the effort and the hours of hard work. I wonder if things will ever get better or if I'm just stuck here, in this place where it's always a struggle to stay afloat. The rent, bills, gas, groceries, they're like a weight tied to my chest that never seems to loosen. Sometimes, I think about how much money I spend just trying to keep my head above water. I don't even know if I'm keeping up anymore. The rent's gone up again this year, and my salary hasn't budged. The grocery prices are outrageous. I swear, the last time I went to buy fruit, I spent almost $20 for a handful of apples and a single avocado. It used to feel like I could make it work, eat cheap, save a little, maybe even have something left over for fun. But now, it feels like the ground is shifting beneath me, and no matter how hard I try to keep my balance, it all slips away. I used to dream of things, of traveling, buying my own place, starting a business, maybe even going back to school one day to finish what I started. But every time I look at my bank account, those dreams feel like they're a lifetime away. More like something other people get to do, not me. I tell myself that it's okay, that I'll get there eventually, but deep down I know the truth, I don't know how. The path to those dreams is getting further out of reach every time something unexpected happens. A flat tire, a doctor's visit, a broken appliance, they're all just reminders of how fragile everything feels. Like a gust of wind could blow everything over, and I'd be left picking up the pieces. I can't even remember the last time I took a real break. A few months ago, I thought about taking a vacation to clear my head, just a weekend away. But then I checked my savings, and that was the end of that idea. I couldn't justify spending the money on something that wouldn't help me pay off bills or keep my rent paid. I tell myself it's temporary, that it's just a matter of getting through this rough patch. But what if this patch never ends? Every day, I make decisions based on money, what I can afford to eat, whether I can buy new clothes when mine are falling apart, whether I can let myself enjoy a cup of coffee from the shop down the street, or if I have to settle for the cheaper instant coffee I've been drinking for months. These little choices add up in ways I didn't expect. They make me feel like I'm in control, but at the same time, I'm not. I still can't change the big picture. No matter how careful I am, I'm always just trying to keep up. Some days, I think about how easy it would be to just give up on everything, stop worrying about the future, let it all go. I think about the people who seem to have it all figured out, who are traveling, building businesses, living their lives without the same constant financial worry that hangs over my head. I wonder what they're doing differently, what magic formula they've figured out that I haven't. But then I remember that I can't give up. I can't stop trying. Because if I do, I might not be able to get back up. I might fall into a hole I can't climb out of, and I'm scared of that. So, I keep pushing, even when it feels like I'm running in place. I get up every morning, go to work, and try to make the best of it. I'm not sure what else to do. But even though I keep going, it's hard to ignore the exhaustion, the constant strain. I find myself waking up in the middle of the night, staring at the ceiling, my mind spinning with calculations, how much I've spent, how much I still need, how much longer I can keep this up. It's exhausting. I wonder if I'm ever going to catch a break, or if this will be my life, just one long, never-ending grind. And sometimes, when I'm not looking at numbers or stressing over bills, I let myself imagine something else. I dream of a life where I can relax, where I don't have to plan every purchase down to the penny, where I don't wake up every day wondering how much further behind I'm falling. I dream of a future where my dreams don't feel so far out of reach, where I can make a life for myself that's not defined by how little I have, but by what I've built. But for now, I keep pushing forward, one step at a time. I keep taking the small wins where I can, finding a little extra cash from side gigs, making it through another month without missing a payment, even just having a good meal with a friend where we can laugh and forget about the weight of the world for an hour. Some days, I feel like I'm trapped in a cycle I can't break. But other days, I remind myself that I'm still here. I haven't given up yet, and as long as I'm breathing, I won't. I'll keep going, because that's all I can do. And maybe, one day, things will change. Maybe, just maybe, I'll catch a break. Maybe my dreams won't be as far out of reach as they seem now. But until then, I'll keep doing the best I can with what I've got. That's all anyone can really do. I wake up to the sound of my alarm ringing, but it feels like I've been awake for hours already. The weight on my chest is always there, a dull throb that reminds me of the constant pressure I'm under. It's the same feeling every day, like I'm drowning but not quite deep enough to be swallowed whole. I push the covers off and glance at the clock, groaning as I realize I've snoozed it too many times. The room is still dim, the morning light creeping through the blinds. It's a Thursday, and it's been a while since I felt the excitement of a weekend ahead. Everything is just a blur of work, bills, and more bills. My paycheck came in yesterday, but it's already gone. Most of it is already spoken for: rent, utilities, student loan, groceries. I'm left with next to nothing. Again. I drag myself to the bathroom and stare at my reflection in the mirror. My eyes are tired. There's a certain emptiness in them, like I'm holding on to something I'm not sure I can keep anymore. I try to smile, but it's forced, like I'm playing a part I'm starting to forget how to act. The weight of the world isn't just on my shoulders. It's in my every decision. The coffee I make in the morning is instant because it's cheaper. I used to love brewing a fresh cup, savoring it slowly, letting the warmth fill me up. Now it feels like an indulgence I can't afford. I stare at the cup in my hands, watching the steam swirl upwards, and wonder if there's any way out of this. I don't want to be one of those people who can never catch a break. But I feel like I am. When I get dressed, it's the same clothes I've been wearing for weeks, maybe months. There's no need for new clothes when the ones I have still fit, even if they're starting to look a little worn. I think about what I would wear if money weren't so tight, maybe a pair of jeans that don't have a hole in the knee or a jacket that's actually stylish. But the reality is that I can't even justify spending $20 on something I don't need. My closet has enough to get by. It's the same logic I apply to everything these days. Need versus want. Everything feels like a compromise. I walk to work, my mind already on the tasks ahead. I pass by the coffee shop I used to visit every morning, back when I had a little more freedom to treat myself. It's not just the coffee that draws me in, it's the feeling of escaping the grind, even if just for a moment. But I keep walking. I've started avoiding the places that remind me of what I can't have. The guilt, the sense of missing out, it all adds up. Sometimes, I wish I could forget that the world is full of things I'll never experience. At work, I sit at my desk and try to focus. The job itself isn't the problem, it's everything surrounding it. The constant balancing act of keeping everything afloat. The pressure is relentless, like trying to hold up a wall made of glass that feels like it might shatter at any moment. Every expense, every payment is a reminder of how little room there is to breathe. And if I slip up, if I forget to pay something on time, it's a disaster. The bills pile up faster than I can make a dent in them. It's exhausting. I check my bank account during lunch, just to see if there's anything new. There isn't. I try to remember the last time I actually felt like I had extra money, but it's hard. It's been years since I didn't feel like I was running behind. The thought of saving for something, anything, seems impossible. I can barely keep up with the things I need just to survive. The idea of building something for the future feels like a fantasy. Some days, I fantasize about quitting my job and going somewhere far away, somewhere peaceful, where I can stop running. But that's not an option, and I know it. I can't afford to dream like that. My rent is due in 2 weeks, and I have to make sure I don't fall behind again. The constant fear of being late is like a shadow hanging over me. It affects everything. My relationships. My mental health. My sense of self-worth. I catch myself scrolling through social media sometimes, seeing people my age getting promotions, buying new cars, taking vacations. I try not to let it get to me, but it does. I wonder if I'll ever get there. If I'll ever feel like I'm not just scraping by. Some days, I think about my dreams, the ones I had when I was younger, the ones that felt attainable back then. I wanted to travel. I wanted to write a book. I wanted to make something of myself. But now? Now, it's hard to see beyond next month's rent. I put those dreams on hold, maybe for good. There's no time or energy for them. I try to tell myself that it's just a season, that things will get better, but the truth is, I'm not sure they will. I used to be optimistic. I used to think if I worked hard enough, things would get easier. But the harder I work, the more it feels like the rules are rigged against me. My income barely keeps up with inflation. Gas prices climb. Groceries cost more. Every time I go to buy something, it's like I'm reminded of how little I have left after all the necessary expenses. I've stopped treating myself to the things I want. I've stopped believing that there's a way out. Some nights, I can't sleep. My mind races with worry, about money, about bills, about the future. The weight of it all settles on me, heavy and suffocating. I want to scream, but it wouldn't make a difference. I want to quit, but where would I go? What would I do? It feels like the only choice I have is to keep going, to keep hustling, to keep treading water, hoping that one day, somehow, I'll be able to catch my breath. And then I remember something. My mom once told me that I'm stronger than I think, that I've been through tough times before and come out okay on the other side. It's a small comfort, but it's something. Maybe it's true. Maybe I can keep going, even if it feels like I'm running on fumes. But right now, all I can do is keep moving forward, even if it feels like I'm walking in place. Even if I'm barely hanging on. Tomorrow, I'll wake up, and I'll do it all again. But for now, I'll let myself feel tired. I'll let myself feel overwhelmed. And I'll hope that, somehow, things get better. That this weight, this constant struggle, won't last forever. I hope. That's all I have left. Hope and the knowledge that I'm still here, even if it feels like I'm barely surviving. But maybe surviving is enough for today. Maybe tomorrow, I'll figure out how to live again. It's a strange kind of exhaustion. The kind that doesn't go away after a good night's sleep. The kind that lingers in your chest, your mind, and your bones, no matter how much you try to shake it off. I feel it every morning when I wake up to the buzz of my alarm, like a warning that I have to get up, face the world, and keep going, whether I want to or not. Most days, I don't even have the energy to think about what I'm going to do next. I just go through the motions, shower, dress, eat whatever's in the fridge, usually nothing more than a handful of cereal or a slice of toast. And then I leave. I work at a job I don't love, doing tasks that feel as meaningless as they are monotonous. I've been in the same position for 2 years now, stuck, with no real upward mobility in sight. I've asked for raises, and been told that there's just no room in the budget to accommodate any pay increases. At least that's what they say. I guess that's the thing, isn't it? They never outright tell you that you're disposable, but the way they manage your time, your pay, and your expectations, it's clear enough. I'm just a cog in the machine. A number in a spreadsheet. They don't care if I'm living paycheck to paycheck, or if I'm drowning in student loan debt, or if I'm lying awake at night worrying about how I'm going to pay my rent next month. They don't care because they don't have to. They've got their own problems, their own costs to balance. They're trying to get by just like everyone else. But I don't have that luxury. Every dollar I earn feels like it's already been spent before I even get it. Rent takes up most of what I make, leaving just enough for the essentials, groceries, gas, the occasional treat to remind myself I'm still human. But then there's the student loan payment. And the credit card bill. And insurance. And, God, even the smallest unexpected expense sends everything spiraling. I think the hardest part is that it feels like this is it. Like, this is the reality I'm stuck in. Every time I see someone on Instagram living in a shiny apartment or traveling somewhere exotic, I try not to let the bitterness seep in. I know better than to compare myself to others. I've heard all the "don't compare your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel" cliches, and I try to live by them. But it's hard when you're sitting on your couch, eating ramen for dinner, and trying to figure out which bill to prioritize this month. And it's not like I don't try. Every day, I try. I apply for new jobs, I update my resume, I network with anyone who'll listen. But the job market is brutal right now. The same jobs I'm qualified for seem to get filled the moment they're posted, and when I do get an interview, the competition is fierce. It's hard not to feel like I'm running in place, exhausted and defeated. Emotionally, it's wearing me down. I never thought I'd be in this position, struggling so much, trying to keep my head above water. I remember when I was younger, I used to dream about my future. I thought I'd have a career by now, maybe a place of my own, some stability. But instead, I'm drowning in anxiety, constantly worried about what's next. I feel like a failure, like I've missed the boat somehow. Everyone else seems to have it together, and I'm still trying to figure out how to pay my bills. There's a part of me that wonders if this will ever change. Will I ever get out of this cycle? Will I ever be able to afford something more than the basics? I dream about taking a weekend trip somewhere, or maybe even just having a dinner that costs more than $20. But I've learned to push those dreams aside because they just feel so out of reach. Even if I could make more money, it seems like everything around me keeps getting more expensive. The rent goes up, groceries cost more, and gas prices keep climbing. It's like I'm running on a treadmill that only goes faster, no matter how hard I try to catch my breath. The worst part is how helpless it makes me feel. Every day, I feel like I'm scrambling, just trying to keep up with everything. I know I'm not the only one. I know there are millions of people out there feeling the same way. But that doesn't make it easier. It just makes it more isolating. I don't really talk about it with anyone. I don't want to burden anyone else with my problems. Everyone's got their own issues, right? Besides, what's the point in talking about it? Nothing ever changes. I just have to keep pushing forward, keep doing what I can to make it to the next paycheck. And then, of course, there's the guilt. The guilt for not doing more, for not being further ahead. The guilt for feeling frustrated when I know there are others who have it worse. It's a cycle of shame that only adds to the weight I'm already carrying. Sometimes I wonder if I'm just bad at this whole adulting thing. Maybe I missed the memo on how to make it work. Maybe I'm just not cut out for this. I try to remind myself that I'm doing my best. But it's hard when you're in a constant state of stress, trying to survive instead of thrive. The worst days are the ones when I feel like I'm running out of options. When I've applied to all the jobs I can, and the bills are still stacking up, and I can't even afford to take a break from all of it. There's no escape from it. It's always there, lurking in the back of my mind. I can't escape the fact that everything costs more than it used to, and I'm not earning nearly enough to keep up. I think I used to believe that everything would get better with time, that things would eventually fall into place. But now, I don't know. Now, I just take it one day at a time, trying to get through the hours without letting the weight of everything crush me. I still have dreams, but they feel further away than ever. I dream of having a job I love, of being able to save money, of living in a place where I don't have to worry about my rent going up every year. I dream of a future where I'm not constantly battling the tide of financial pressure. But for now, those dreams feel like distant stars. Just out of reach, no matter how much I stretch. All I can do is keep going, keep moving forward, and hope that one day, something will change. I wake up to the same dull sound of my phone alarm, a jarring reminder that another day has started, and with it, another round of financial struggle. I stretch, groaning as I push myself out of bed. The sheets feel like they're holding me back, almost like they know the weight of what I'm facing today. Some days it feels like the world is pressing in on me, like my every move is calculated by a formula I can't control. Expenses rise faster than I can keep up, and I'm stuck in the middle, trying to catch my breath, but only finding myself sinking further. The first thing I do is check my bank account. It's a habit now, almost a ritual, though I wish it didn't feel like one. A quick glance at the numbers, and I feel that sinking pit in my stomach again. It's like there's never enough. Rent is due soon, and I know I've been cutting it close. This month, like the last few, I've dipped into savings, which I keep telling myself is okay because I've worked hard for that buffer. But then I feel guilty. That buffer is for emergencies, for the what-ifs, and I'm using it like a lifeline just to stay afloat. But every month, it's just a little bit less of a cushion, and I can feel the pressure growing. I make a cup of coffee, and as the hot steam rises, I try to steady myself. I've started drinking more coffee lately, something to make the exhaustion feel bearable, even though I know I should be cutting back. It's like every dollar is a battle, a calculation of necessity versus indulgence. I sit down at my kitchen table, looking at the stack of bills that have been accumulating. I'll tackle them later, I tell myself. I always do. But the dread starts to settle in. How much will I have left after paying everything? Another question I avoid asking because I already know the answer. Not enough. I get dressed for work, an outfit that I've worn a few too many times. It's funny how I've started to wear the same things, not because I want to, but because I have no other choice. Each item in my closet is a reminder that I don't have the luxury of new things. It's not like I'm starving, but sometimes it feels like I am, starving for space, for freedom, for a future that doesn't feel like it's just out of reach. At work, I try to push through the day. The job itself isn't horrible, but it doesn't fill me with purpose either. It's just something that pays the bills, which, lately, feels like the highest compliment I can give it. It's hard to focus when all I can think about is the next payment I need to make or how much I still owe on my student loans. I try to talk myself into staying positive, reminding myself that I'm lucky to have a job at all, especially with the way the economy's been. But the reality is, it's not enough. It's never enough. Lunchtime comes, and I pull out the sandwich I packed this morning, just like yesterday, and the day before. It's not that I mind the repetition, it's more like a comfort. A predictable moment in a sea of uncertainty. But it's also a reminder of the choices I've had to make, choosing between eating out with friends or saving for the electric bill. Most days, it's easy to make that decision, but sometimes, I feel like I'm missing out. I think about the things I used to want, things that now feel like they belong to another version of myself, one who had more time, more money, more hope. I scroll through social media for a moment, just to see what everyone else is doing. It's a mixture of excitement, success, and constant, unspoken pressure to keep up. There are vacations, weddings, promotions, new homes. It all feels so far away, like a life that's slipping through my fingers. I scroll past it all, almost resentfully, and remind myself that I'm doing the best I can. But sometimes, that doesn't feel like enough. The real weight of it comes at night, when I'm lying in bed, staring at the ceiling. The house is quiet, but my mind is anything but. I think about the future and feel the tightness in my chest. I tell myself that this is just a phase, that things will get better. But how? I'm working full-time, trying to pick up extra shifts when I can. And still, it's not enough. It's like I'm on a treadmill, running faster and faster, but I'm not getting anywhere. I think about my dreams, the ones I used to have, the ones I still hold on to in the quiet corners of my mind. I used to imagine traveling, living somewhere new, pursuing a career that actually excited me. But all of that feels like it belongs in a dream, one that I've had to lock away because there's no room for it. Not when every decision I make is based on how much money I have or don't have. I want to tell someone how I feel, how tired I am, how overwhelmed. But it's like there's this pressure to keep up appearances, to pretend everything is fine. I don't want to be a burden, especially when I'm not sure what I'm asking for. I just want someone to tell me it's going to be okay, that there's a way out of this, that things will turn around. But no one has that answer, not even me. And then there's the guilt. The constant feeling that I should be doing more, that I should be working harder, that I should be saving more, cutting back more. I beat myself up for spending on anything that isn't absolutely essential. A night out with friends? Guilt. A new book or pair of shoes? Guilt. I try to remind myself that it's okay to live a little, but it doesn't always feel that way. It feels like every penny is a reminder that I'm not doing enough, that I'm not enough. I try to stay hopeful. I tell myself that there's got to be a way out of this. That one day, I'll be able to breathe again. But the truth is, some days, it's hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I wonder if I'll ever be able to live without this constant anxiety, this sense of being trapped. But I keep going, because what else can I do? I keep showing up to work, I keep making the best of what I have, and I keep holding on to the hope that maybe, just maybe, things will change. Maybe one day, I'll look back and see that all of this, all of the struggle, was worth it. But right now, it's hard to see that far ahead. Right now, I'm just trying to survive. I've gotten used to the weight of it by now. It's like a constant pressure on my chest, a tightness in my gut that I can't shake. The numbers, the bills, the endless calculations in my head. It never really stops, this low hum of anxiety that buzzes in the background of my life. I wake up to it every day, in the pit of my stomach, and by the time I fall asleep, it's there too. I used to tell myself I'd get ahead, that things would get easier eventually. But here I am, 24 years old, feeling like I'm sinking faster than I can swim. My phone buzzes and I know before I even look, it's another alert from my bank. Balance low. I could cry. I swipe away the notification, trying to ignore it, but the pit in my stomach only grows. Rent's coming up again, and so is that student loan payment I've been barely scraping by on. I feel trapped. Every paycheck feels like it's already spent before it even hits my account. I can't make a move without considering the cost. Do I go out for coffee with friends, or do I skip it and drink the half-full cup I left on the counter yesterday? Do I drive to work, or do I take the bus to save on gas? It's exhausting, constantly deciding between what I want and what I can afford. It wasn't supposed to be like this. I was supposed to have it figured out by now. I did everything they told me to do. I went to college, I worked part-time, I graduated with a degree I thought would open doors. And it did, in a way. But the doors I walked into weren't the ones I dreamed of. They were ones with shaky foundations, low wages, and little opportunity for growth. I'm in an entry-level job that's barely enough to cover the basics, let alone allow me to put anything aside for savings or, God forbid, have any fun. And every day feels like a race to catch up with my bills, but the finish line is always moving further away. The thing is, it's not just the money. It's the constant reminder that I'm stuck in a system that wasn't built for people like me. I don't know if it's the same for everyone, but it feels like I'm walking on a tightrope, just trying not to fall off. I hear people talk about how lucky they are to have a job or to be living paycheck to paycheck, but I'm starting to wonder if we all even know what that really means anymore. It's not about luck, it's about survival. There's no real stability, no real chance to breathe. Every raise feels like a crumb. Every new opportunity feels out of reach. I'm not even sure what my dreams are anymore. When I was younger, I had all these grand ideas. I wanted to travel. I wanted to start my own business. I wanted to make a real impact on the world. Now, my dreams feel like fantasies, things I pushed aside long ago. They're buried beneath the weight of rent and utilities, grocery bills, and unexpected car repairs. There's always something that eats up whatever tiny bit of space I have to dream. I used to picture myself in some far-off city, in a cozy apartment with plants and bookshelves and big windows. Now, I can't even imagine saving up enough to move out of the tiny one-bedroom I share with a roommate who's also just trying to make it through the day. My dreams are these fading whispers in the back of my mind, things I think about in the dead of night when the world feels quiet and still. But in the mornings, when the alarm goes off and I'm already mentally calculating my expenses for the day, they feel so far away. My budget for the week? It's usually as tight as it can be. I go through my list of bills, prioritize, then hope there's a little left over for things like toiletries or, on really good weeks, a treat like a movie or a dinner out with friends. It's always the same. Every time I think I've got a handle on things, something unexpected comes up, like that huge medical bill that came out of nowhere, or when the car needed a new set of tires. Suddenly, I'm back to square one. Back to feeling like I'm not even treading water but sinking deeper with every step. I try to be smart about it. I try to set up a budget, stick to it, use apps to track my spending. But it doesn't matter how much I plan. The numbers keep growing. Rent goes up. Gas prices go up. Groceries go up. But my paycheck? That stays the same. It's like a never-ending cycle, and I'm stuck in it, watching the world pass by. People tell me to be patient, that things will get better, but it doesn't feel like they ever do. The future feels distant, like a dream that keeps getting pushed further and further away. I've stopped making big plans. No more talking about taking a trip to Europe or quitting my job to write a book. Those things seem impossible now. Now, I just dream about small moments of peace. Maybe someday, I'll get to buy a new coat that isn't from a second-hand store. Or maybe I'll go on a date without worrying about how much it's going to cost. Maybe, one day, I'll actually be able to save up for a vacation, even if it's just a weekend away to clear my head. Maybe someday, I won't feel so damn anxious all the time. But right now, today, it's just survival. It's making it through another week without everything falling apart. It's trying to remind myself that I'm doing the best I can, even if it doesn't feel like enough. I've learned to take comfort in small victories. Like when I managed to get through the week without hitting zero in my bank account, or when I managed to put a few dollars into savings instead of watching it slip through my fingers. It's not much, but it's something. Sometimes, I wonder if everyone feels like this. If everyone's just faking it, pretending they've got it all together while quietly struggling behind closed doors. I see people posting on social media about their vacations or their fancy dinners, and I can't help but feel like I'm on the outside looking in. They all seem to have figured it out, while I'm over here counting pennies. It's hard not to feel like I'm failing. But then I remind myself that I'm not. I'm just doing the best I can. Some days are better than others. Some days, the weight feels a little lighter. Some days, I can catch a glimpse of that dream again, even if it's faint. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough. It has to be. Thank you for watching until the end. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss new videos. Also, leave a comment, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Your support and engagement mean a lot to me. See you in the next video.